Good evening. It's April, and I want to thank you so much for joining me for day 3, year 2, day 3 of Radical Discipline. And so, guess what? I told y'all that my goal, it's a 3-year plan for my weight loss part of Radical Discipline. So, I was about 40 something. I hadn't weighed. I don't weigh every day, but I knew I was going to weigh to see the final weigh in for 2024. And I'm so excited to let you know that I did meet my goal. I was okay with 46 pounds. I was okay with 48. I was just happy hitting 40. So, but my goal was to lose 50 pounds in 2024. And this morning when I weighed, I was exactly down 50 pounds. So congratulations to me. I'm so excited. And it just gives me even more, fuel and energy to continue the weight loss journey. So I'm in year 2 of that. I just wanted to announce that because I'm excited and I wanted to share. And I hope that you'll get excited too in hearing that good news. So today I said that I was going to talk about the word radical discipline and why we can't just have a little bit of discipline, where we have to be radical about it and not cut ourselves any slack in terms of doing what we say we're going to do. But first, I want to know if you're enjoying this talk, and did you watch day 1? We're going to do this 37 days. This is day 3. So after today, we'll have 34 more days. I also want to share, if your friends or family have been asking about it, or you wanted to share and they don't have Facebook, I am going to download these and put them on YouTube. So I'll give that information on tomorrow. So anytime that you're doing something, you need to have your motivational person, your motivational phrase. Mine is emerge. That's for 2025. And then I also based radical discipline off of Hebrews 12 and 11. It says, for the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant. But later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Prime example, it was not easy in the first 6 months to just really change the way that I was eating, to get active consistently, but I stuck with it. It was painful to stop things. It was very painful to stop my coffee. The place that I had been going. So there were some cuts. When you're cutting things, cuts hurt. But if you don't cut it, you can't grow. Just like split ends, just like pulling up weeds and trimming trees, and whatever it is that's growing has to be pruned. And pruning doesn't always feel good, but it has to happen in order for growth to continue. Something that is not pruned or that is not cut, that is not properly maintained and stewarded, will end up being overgrown or actually dying. And so once this journey of discipline starts, we have to steward it well. We can't slack. And so radical means, there were so many definitions, but one of them says extreme. So for some of you, you're looking like, yeah, that's me. That's me. Some of you may have an extreme personality, and so you're the life of the party. You're the one that people call when they want a good laugh. You're the person that's always asked to come, to do, you have a big presence, and that's amazing. But some of us are very introverted. And so if you see us talking and moving and doing, it's because we have actually made up in our minds to do something. We had to plan it. We had to conserve our energy, to be present. And then we probably have to have like 3 days to rest and recoup from the outgoingness that we had to display. But we are also extreme, maybe in other words, other ways, like in planning or in our field or in our productivity. So if you can relate to the word extreme, then you're already operating as a radical. So the other definition, there's a couple of them, but the one that I felt like really resonated with me in terms of executing radical discipline, it says marked departure from prevailing methods, practices, or ideas. We're departing from prevailing methods that we may have even been operating in our whole lives. Quick story, because story time is always a good time. When I was little, I was raised with three brothers and I was the only girl. And one of the ways that my mother implemented chores was everybody had a day or a week. And so the chore that I hated the most was washing dishes. I hated washing dishes so much that if it was my night, I would just kind of try to go to bed before, like go to bed early, so it looked like, oh, she's so tired. You know, I wasn't thinking like that, but I guess in my like thoughts, I wasn't calculating. I just would try to just go in my room, be real quiet and go to bed. So that I got away with that for, I don't know how many times, but one day my mom was just like, she got up and she woke me up and she didn't say, April, or wake up. I don't know what time it was, because when you're a child, you don't have any concept of time. It was dark and I was in the middle of some good sleep. She woke me up with the belt. She said, you better get in there and wash them dishes and don't you go back to bed until they are done. Y'all, if that wasn't like enough to be motivated to wash dishes and to do what I needed to do, I went in that kitchen. I looked at that sink. I wiped my tears, and then I laid my behind on that floor and I went to sleep. I was radically disciplined. I was radically disciplined not to wash dishes. I had to pay the consequences, but I was determined that I was not gonna. I went to sleep right on that kitchen floor. Yeah. So we have to be just that radically disciplined in what we're supposed to do and what we're saying that we're going to do. I won't tell you what happened that next morning. It's all a blur. But even now, when I do like wash dishes and I put that hot water in there, it's so relaxing. But I'm still not the person who's gonna just get excited about washing dishes. I'm not. I don't. Okay. However, for 2025, because I have two children at home and we have a dishwasher and all that, but it just wastes water to me. I'm still that person. So I'll put them in there if it'll fill them up, but I don't use it myself. I let them use it when it's their turn, but there's nothing like really stacking, just stacking the dishes and getting the water hot and just going for it. There's just a sense of accomplishment. So I've already made up in my mind that I'm going to make sure before I go to bed that the sink is clean of dishes. That's so important. That's just something. Some of you are like, yeah, I've been doing that since I was 12. This might not resonate with you, okay? But for those of us who have that chore that you're just like, I never like doing this. I don't really care to do this, or I don't do this consistently. I want you, in addition to the big things, to really look at the little areas in your home where you do not exercise radical discipline. So tonight, in giving that definition, we're moving away from methods or practices or ideas that are prevailing, that are derailing. So there are things that have just been a part of our life for so long. You're just like, that's how I roll. That's how I manage. That's how I maintain. Nobody's perfect. All those little phrases that we use to encourage ourselves to continue to be inconsistent in the areas of stewardship that we really should be better at. We're going to do away with the excuses. And instead of them, those prevailing things that we're doing that are derailing our success or our consistency, we're going to move away from them and we're going to implement an unorthodox way of doing things. Well, why do you say unorthodox? Because if that's your norm, then you're going to flip it on its head and you're going to do something different. And that's me. So now part of my nightly routine, shutting that kitchen down. Okay, after 8 o'clock, or whatever time, it'll probably be between 8 and 9. Nobody should be in here doing nothing but eating fruit or water. It's like, we're not dirtying dishes. And what I've learned is that when we rule or run our household well, everyone else gets in line when we do it, not when we say it, not when we delegate it, when we do it. Even if I do this for the whole 2025, if those in my home see that, then that's going to be their lasting memory, not the years that I didn't do it consistently. So I want to encourage you that not only us exercising radical discipline in the small areas of our home life and getting the declutter out and having a routine for the household, not only does that help us and free up our schedule to focus on our big task and our big things that we're doing, but it also will bring structure and a peace and a security from structure to our loved ones. You'll see your whole household get on board, and there will be another level of respect. Things that you're just wishing that, attitudes that maybe you want to change, things that you wish were different, they will line up as we line up. Being radically disciplined really, honestly, is about stopping the excuses. It's about taking the responsibility. It's also about looking at your weak areas, and instead of excusing them, instead of is placating. I need to look and see what that word means. So I want to say placating them, then you're just going to handle them. You're going to make it light work. That's what I like. That's light work, meaning that's easy work. And so we're going to be busy. I want to say that we've had rest, or maybe you're taking the rest of the week to get rested, but this will be a season of great movement. It will be a season, it will be a year where we'll stay busy, but that's okay, because when you're structured, you can get you're going to schedule your rest. You're going to get in the bed. And so I really want to encourage you, as you're going away from methods that derail you from completing what you need to complete, and that keep you from moving forward or having success, we're scheduling in the things that we need to do. So if you haven't already, I want to encourage you to do a time audit. So what's a time audit? A time audit is when you actually look at the previous day, the previous week, the previous year, however much time you want to look at. Maybe you look at seasons. I love looking at seasons because you identify cycles of behavior. I used to have and I think all of us can say, I used to do blah, 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 but I used to have a business where I would do something called dream building, and we would just look at helps and hindrances that we had in our lives, right? And one of them that I noticed with teachers is, because teachers are, they're right up there to me with doctors and lawyers, right? In terms of like, we need them, their specialization, their passion, doing something no one else could do, that you have to really be called and study and learn to do. So I really esteem teachers and educators in that field as a whole. And so teachers usually have like 2 or 3 business ideas that they really want to do once they finish their teaching career, or once they, in the summer months or something like that. But some teachers, there was this pattern of, well, by the time summer gets here, I'm just tired, and rightfully so. But that was a cycle that they recognized. Okay, when summer comes, I'm so tired, I don't have the energy to do that. And so we had to come up with a plan for the 3 months before summer, where their schedule as a teacher would be a little bit structured differently, so that when summer came, they would not be too tired to do what they dreamed of and loved to do. And so it's the same thing with us. If you look at your life and you see, man, come fall, I start eating heavier. I start eating potatoes every night. I start eating chili every night. Or come fall, I sleep 12 hours. And so I don't have a lot of waking time to work on other projects. Whatever your behavior is, first of all, you just kind of do an audit of your time, an audit of how you behave. And then if you want to change that, sometimes you just need to be aware. Sometimes you can say, okay, fall, that's my recoup season. Nothing wrong with that. What does that mean? That means that those other 9 months, you've got to double up. You've got to take that work that you should be doing in those 3 months, and you've got to make it happen. It's called seasonal productivity. Now, there are even some fields where they're seasonally productive, and they have these high, what's the word? high sales windows, let's say like that. So like the car sales. I know there's a time during the tax income return, car sales people, they make a lot of money during that time. There are high seasons. I'm not saying that right word. Somebody probably knows that right word that I'm trying to say, but you recognize in certain industries, these are the seasons that are busy. These are the times that are slow. If I make $10,000 a month in the season that's busy, but the slow seasons I make about 2,000, that means that I have to budget differently, right? And so it's the same thing with the time audit. You're saying, what times am I not productive? Kind of like I mentioned yesterday, there were a person in my life, when I talked to them, they would bring me so low, I would not be very productive or very positive for about 3 days to a week after having conversations with them. And so you've got to do a time audit and see, okay, when am I not productive? What's happening in my life when I'm not productive? As ladies, we already have a part of our physical bodies called a cycle that we know we have to, watch for, and our emotions and our mindset, stuff like that. And so it's the same thing as an entrepreneur, being radically disciplined, whatever your goals are. You have to look and see what has hindered me in the past with this. What do I do with my time? And so we're doing that this week. I've already started. I think some of us have been doing some things in November, December, but it's okay if you're watching this in March. If you're on the replay, you can start right now. It's not about the day of the week you start. It's not about the month. It's not about the year. It's about starting. So look at a time audit. So last week, I think I did a time audit. I did a different type of time audit where I had already done my time audit. So I implemented a new time schedule. I went to my Google Calendar and I put in from 24-hour cycle what I will do hour by hour, time gap by time gap. I scheduled in everything that I need to do and when I would do it. It didn't take as long as it seems. And I want to be clear here. I did that just for what I thought of. Somebody says, well, you can't predict. What about the unpredictable things? That's when you go back and you just edit it. Anytime that someone's introduced to you something that works for them or that's helpful, it's not to say you have to try it. It's to say, I want to try that. That will work for me. Yes. Or you can say, oh no, that's too much. But don't stop at that's too much. That's not for me. What is for you? Take it a step further and say, no, I'm not feeling that, April. But how will you audit your time? That's the point. How will you be accountable to yourself to accomplish your goals and to cut out those things, to trim those things, to shear those things, to prune those things that are wasting your time, that are wasting your energy, that you're wasting your money on, those barriers. So that is a little bit of work. I don't want to give too much, but I wanted to give just a little bit for you today. So yesterday we talked about emerge. That's my word for 2025. And some of you were going to work on getting your word and getting prepared to do that. This 34 days, it's not so much as you jumping up and doing as it is preparing and planning. There are some parts of your life that didn't stop. I want to acknowledge everybody didn't have 2 weeks off. Everybody didn't have the holiday off. We're all in different seasons of our life. Some people work 3 jobs. Some people are driving to supplement their income in different type of driver services. Some people are doing so much just to make ends meet. So when we talk about exercising radical discipline, there's a different weight on it for everybody. And so I want to acknowledge that we don't have time, or it wouldn't even be wise to sit and to share why we can't do things and what's a barrier for us as a group. But I want you to know that I know and I understand that the call to radical discipline may seem daunting, but I want to be a witness to you that starting and applying it to just one area of your life will open up doors and will release you from heaviness, from hard things. It'll shift your mindset to where you're like, you know what? I really don't have to grind like this if I would just be radically disciplined and cut out these purchases, or cut out these bills, or cut out these subscriptions for the first 3 months of the year. There's an old school expression that says, where there's a will, there's a way. If you really want something to happen, you will make it happen. I'm reminded romantically, y'all, I don't know what is going on with these algorithms where there's always so much talk about if a man wants to do this. And, there's so much negativity online about men and women relationships. Don't click the bait, okay? But one thing I know to be true, if somebody, whether it's a woman or a man, if a man wants to spend time with a woman, he makes it happen, right? And if a woman wants to spend time with a man, she says yes. So when people want to do something, it is true, they do it. They make it happen. And how do they make it happen? They prioritize the thing that they're trying to do. Radical discipline has to be prioritized. So I've already told you, before I go to bed, I'm going to look at that sink. Now, let me be honest, I'm in Texas, and it is dark here at 5:30, at 5:28. I don't know what's going on. It's dark. I have noticed that as the sun sets, so does my motivation. So does my action, my activity, right? I start kind of slowing down physically. So I know anything that actually takes a lot of movement and a lot of physical energy, I need to do in the morning. I'm not going to lie and say I'm going to work out in the evening. I'm going to work out in the morning. So you know yourself and you know your body. So one of the things that I'll exercise radical discipline with is making sure that after I eat dinner, then I need to go ahead and clean the kitchen then and shut it down then. Because if I come in here to take a quick nap, it's over. And what happens when we fail ourselves, lie to ourselves, or disappoint ourselves by not keeping the word that we created for ourselves? We feel like, well, it's over now. We feel like a failure. And the feelings of failure last way more than the feelings of celebration. Now, at the beginning of this, I said, I met my goal weight. I met my radical discipline goal for weight loss at the beginning. But I didn't tell you that right after, there was a split second of moment as I looked in the mirror and I said, you did it. And then I looked at my body and I thought of, man, this is where the real work begins. And it's true. That was the first part. That was the weight that I needed to really be able to work out on a different level. Some people, you're so far into debt, or you're so far into whatever it is that you're breaking your lack of discipline off of, that you kind of feel like it'll be easier for me to just stay in this place of despair, failure, or mediocrity. You'll have those, I want to be honest, you'll have those moments where you'll say, it's easier for me to just, I don't want to rock the boat. Now is not the time. I can't, you'll feel that in the first weeks, in the first months, or in the hard seasons. You'll feel those moments where, oh my gosh, am I really going to move forward? So I could have easily said, all right, I did year one. I met that goal. I'm okay with this. I love me. I don't need to lose any more weight. I could have easily said that, especially when I looked at the fact that, okay, April, now, you're going to have to sweat. You're going to have to figure out your hair. You're going to have to figure out your workout. You're going to have to spend some money. You're going to have to plan more. This is going to change some things, And I thought about all of that, but I was like, this is what comes with radical discipline. So I want to encourage you, you're going to have some wins and successes. But with those successes, as you're celebrating, know that now I'm on the next level. That means there's going to be a different type of work. There's going to be a different type of burden that comes with that work. It's going to be harder. Why? Because I elevated. And anybody that hikes, anybody that flies knows that when I go higher, that means that the air is thinner. When I go higher, there's going to be more pressure. So now I've got to do more. So understand, don't be confused about it. Being radical disciplined will give you radical results of success, but that just means that new person that you've become has also grown and been strengthened mentally, physically, in your gifts, in your talents, financially, to be a better steward. Now you've got more responsibility. Now you've got promotion, and you're going to have to manage people, which means you're going to have to study about that. Now you've gotten to a place where you can't afford to withdraw. You can't afford to revert back to the old ways that you did things. You can't manage 2 people. You can't manage 10 people the same way you manage 2. I can't work out at the level of, well, it wasn't even intense. It really wasn't. But I can't work out at that level and expect to continue to lose weight. I've got to up it, okay? So your radical discipline that you've had in your life, you're going to see some wins, but that doesn't mean you stop, and that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. This will be hard. The word said that it will be painful. It will be painful. But there's a pain that comes from not being able to be what you thought that you would be. There's a pain that comes from looking back over your life and seeing that you have not made any progress. In fact, you may have digressed. There's a pain that comes from mismanaging your bills in such a way that you lose your home or your car is repoed. There's a pain that comes from neglecting your relationship with your significant other and breaking up. There's pain that comes from a lack of discipline. So which pain? Yeah, I've heard that before. Which pain do you want? I want the pain that produces results. I want the pain that produces prosperity, and the pain that produces progress that takes me forward. And again, the pain of someone that's radically disciplined, it becomes pleasant. It becomes an old friend. And we learn how to push through the pain. And eventually, when that muscle's built, when that habit's stacked, when the things that you're trying to do become like, oh, this is easy for me. When other people are saying, how do you do all of that? It's nothing to you because you pushed past the pain and now you're at a different level. So I want to encourage you. It's going to be painful, but you can do it, and we're going to do it together. So a question that I wrote down to ask as we're getting ready to wrap up, I said, do you know anyone that does what you're trying to do? I want to encourage you that you may be the first. Your ideas are not crazy. You're not delusional. You're not flighty. You're not irresponsible. I just really want to speak to you and encourage you and speak to your heart. You're bold. You're brave. You're amazing, because you've dared to dream and you were created to create. So you're in a community right now of people who are saying, this is my language. So focus and hone in. Remember yesterday we said, be a trier. It's okay to be a trier, but decide. If there's 12 things that you're interested in, I want to learn Spanish. I do know Spanish, but I want to continue to grow in speaking Spanish, and I want to learn Zulu. I want to learn Portuguese. So I have all these languages I want to learn. I want to learn how to play instruments. I want an all-girl band. I'm telling all my business. But anyway, there's things I want to do. But they'll just be things I want to do if I don't do them. So now it's like I can't do all of that at the same time. So I'm really honing in on Spanish, right? So I'm really good at it. I've been doing it almost 1,000 days in a row on Duolingo, okay? So I'm doing that, but it's not just about doing that. It's also about speaking it. It's also about applying it and mastering it. So when I master it, it's not even something I'm working towards anymore. I've mastered it. I don't have to refresh it because I'm actually implementing and applying it. So now I can go on to Zulu. So whatever it is that you want to do, and you're saying, I want to try things, get your top 3 out. In addition to what you're doing for radical discipline, what are those fun things you want to do? Get those things out and say, okay, for the first 4 months of the year, I'm going to do this. I'm a left brain person. I'm going to use the right side of my brain, or I'm the right brain person. I'm going to use the left side. I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to teach myself this. When I was in first grade, there was a boy named Adrian, and he wrote with his left hand. And I just thought that was amazing. So what did I do? I used to write with my left hand. Now my teacher would say, why does this look messy? And I was like, it's with my left hand, right? You're right-handed. So it made it easier for her to read my writing with my right hand. So she discouraged that. Now we're the type of teachers, are we? We're the type of people who see somebody trying something new. That's what we're doing right now. And we're saying, all right, got you. Okay, I need you to practice at home. See, this is what I would have said. Okay, I need you to practice at home too, so that I can read your work. So I'm glad you're learning to write with your left hand. Practice at home so that you can get better at it, because I need to read your work. So whatever it is that you want to do it, but practice it, do it well. And if you enjoy it, keep going. You don't have to tell everybody the fun things you want to do or the exciting things you want to do. Sometimes it's so weird, y'all. You'll think that you're being flighty, or you'll have a negative word attributed to your personality, to your drive, and to your radicalness. People will look at you and say, how dare you, or why? You look around, is there anybody who's like you, or that does what you do? Do you get negative feedback? If so, you're in the right place. You're doing the right thing. It's just saying, I am a trailblazer. I am a radical, disciplined person. I am a pioneer. I am the first. I love my family very much. But if I looked at my immediate family, nobody went to the gym. Now, I know there were times, even in my other family, like, I don't know of anybody. They probably do go, or maybe they did go, but for the most part, it wasn't like a big discussion of what gym do you work at. And I have a beautiful family, but I'm just saying, like, for me to get up and say, like, I go to the gym every day, I'm not going to be telling my brothers, hey, what gym y'all go to? Maybe they'll want to go. I don't know. Maybe they'll start that. I don't know. But maybe you're the first who's working out every day. Can y'all identify with that? Like, I'm the first who did blah, blah, blah. But especially, even let's just say my children. I have a daughter who works out every day. I mean, they do home workouts, but they're not like get up and go to the gym, get up and do. So I may be the first one to start a habit of going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, or investing in the gym membership. The things we need to do, but we don't want to do, when times get hard financially, we cut that first. I can't do that. Well, y'all just pay for the year. So I'll just pay for the whole year and then, make sure that I do what I need to do. But whatever it is that you're wanting to do, give yourself that investment and that commitment on top of the stuff that you're like, this is hard for me, but I'm exercising. Y'all get what I'm saying? This is hard for me, but I'm exercising radical discipline and I'm going to get this done. But also the things you're interested in. Don't go all the way over here. Also, this is growing you too, and you enjoy it. So you're going to do some things you don't enjoy and exercise radical discipline in that. But you're also going to do some things you're interested in that you do enjoy, or you feel like you might enjoy, and you're going to exercise radical discipline in that. Radical discipline is needed for both the things we want to do and the things we don't want to do. Because oftentimes what we do is we deny ourselves the pleasure of exploring and growing and maturing and nurturing our gifts and talents. And that's what we're created to do. That's where we're going. And I'm almost sure, this is just my theory, but I'm almost sure that if we can get this radical discipline on the things we don't like to do and begin to do radical discipline on the things we really enjoy, we will meet somewhere in the middle. And then that radical discipline that we've been cultivating will allow us to have the income, will allow us to have the influence that we are created to have in this world. Radical discipline is about becoming who you are supposed to be at the highest level of performance, productivity, and purpose. So I want to encourage you to not dread this and to look at it as my life is changing. And not because I won the lottery. Win it. Y'all win it. Not because I won the lottery. Not because, it was just a luck, but because I took the steps and the actions to change my mindset and my heart, to believe in myself, and to do what I needed to do to be radically disciplined. And as I was taking the steps, things began to fall into place. I began to grow, and I saw my life totally turn around. So I'm expecting great transformation. If you see yourself feeling good, don't stop it. It was very difficult today, but I had to tell somebody who was just telling me general, random, negative news. I was like, I don't want to hear that. Why did you share that with me? I'm having a great day. That's not something I needed to know. Now, the old me would have just been like, But I want to train people and I want to teach people that are in my presence to understand and know I'm coming with positivity and productivity, peaceful productivity. That is what I'm on. So if you're not, I'm going to need you to hush or move around. Can I say hush or move around? We've got to teach people. It's beyond just not engaging anymore. It's being fiercely protective of our peace. It's being fiercely protective of our positivity and our motivation as we're operating on a different mindset and a different shift into radical discipline. So be encouraged. Don't stop. You're on the right track. I want to pray real quick for you and for us. God, thank you so much for the extreme, radical marked departure from negative prevailing mindsets, practices, lack of discipline, ideas that have hindered us and derailed us from seeing productivity. I ask that we would move into unorthodox ways. Lord, I thank you that as we get up earlier or as we audit our time and just take accountability for our failures, we won't get stuck in condemnation, our discouragement, our disappointment, our negativity, but we'll say, all right, I'm aware and I'm making those changes. I believe I heard someone say an opportunity for growth. And we are saying yes to growth opportunities. So I'm already feeling so good, God, for the open doors and the yeses. Because if we're asking for more, we've got to steward what we have right now very well. So I thank you that stewardship is coming upon us, a heart to be good stewards, and that we will execute what we say we will do. We are people of our word. And not only are we not disappointing others, but we're not disappointing ourselves anymore. Thank you for the strength to be radically disciplined. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for joining. This is day 3. We have 34 more days. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 6.